Have you ever noticed that some people treat achievement like it's a love potion? If I just get the promotion, if I finally lose the weight, if I become impressive enough, then people will love me. Then I will matter. Then I will finally feel like I'm enough. Well, honestly, nobody embodies that emotional spiral better than Hercules. No, not the sanitized, go the distance version entirely, though we'll absolutely talk about that majestic Disney himbo energy, but mostly the original Greek mythology version. The guy whose entire life was basically one long attempt to earn worth through suffering, strength, and impossible accomplishments. Because underneath the lion skin's monsters and muscles, Hercules wasn't just fighting beasts, he was fighting the fear that he was unlovable. Welcome back, fellow mages, to the Grounded Mage, where we explore how myth and magic exist in everyday life. Today, we're talking about achievement addiction, why some people become obsessed with proving themselves, why high performers are often secretly starving emotionally, and why Hercules might be one of the most psychologically accurate mythological characters ever written. Let's just get into it. So, first, quick mythology recap. Hercules, or technically Heracles in Greek mythology, was the son of Zeus and a mortal woman named Alcmene, which immediately meant his life was going to be terrible because Zeus had all the impulse control of a raccoon in a gas station. And Zeus's wife, Hera, is furious about this affair. And instead of going to therapy like an emotionally mature, immortal being, she dedicates her life to ruining Hercules' life forever. Healthy coping. I mean, he's just a baby. It's not his fault that his father can't keep it in his toga. And as a baby, Hercules strangles snakes in his crib, which is the Greek mythology version of a toddler bench pressing a Honda Civic. But despite his incredible strength, Hercules grows up carrying this constant theme. You must prove yourself. And eventually, after Hera drives him temporarily mad, Hercules tragically unalives his own wife and children. Now, let's pause there for a second, because Greek myths are symbolic. They exaggerate human emotion into giant dramatic stories. And Hercules' tragedy represents something incredibly human: the danger of becoming disconnected from yourself while trying to become great. And to atone for what he has done, Hercules is forced into the famous 12 labors. Unalive the Nemean lion, fight the Hydra, capture Cerberus, clean the Augean stables, which, by the way, is mythology's way of saying, congratulations, your reward for trauma is more work. And what's fascinating psychologically is this: the labors never actually heal Hercules. They make him famous, they make him legendary, but they don't truly resolve the deeper wound underneath. Because achievement and healing are not the same thing. Quick question before we move on. Have you ever tried to earn your value through achievement? Not enjoy achievement, not pursue goals in a healthy way. I mean, emotionally depend on accomplishment to feel worthy. Like, if you stop producing, you secretly fear that people won't value you anymore. There's actually a psychological concept called conditional worth. Psychologist Carl Rogers talked about how a lot of people grow up believing that love is conditional. I'm loved when I succeed. I'm accepted when I perform. I matter when I impress people. So instead of developing self worth internally, they build it externally. Achievements become emotional currency. And suddenly, your entire nervous system starts acting like a medieval peasant trying to pay rent to your own self esteem. That's Hercules. Every labor says, maybe now I'll finally be enough. And here's the brutal part: the goalpost keeps moving. Have you ever noticed that? Like, you achieve one thing, and the satisfaction lasts about 17 minutes. You get the job, the body, the followers, the grades, the recognition. And your brain goes, cool. Anyway, what's next? Psychologists call this the hedonic treadmill. Humans adapt quickly to success, meaning achievements rarely create lasting fulfillment, which explains why some incredibly successful people are also deeply miserable. Because the child inside them is still asking, do they love me yet? Now, the Disney version softens things significantly because, understandably, accidental familicide tested poorly with children. But the emotional core remains surprisingly intact. In Disney's Hercules, Hercules desperately wants to become a true hero so he can belong. And what does he think makes him lovable? Fame, strength, recognition. There's literally merchandise of him in the movie. He becomes ancient Greece's version of a social media influencer. And honestly, the montage where everyone is worshiping him feels uncomfortably modern because people still do this today. Maybe if enough people admire me, I'll finally admire myself. Oof. But the film eventually reveals something important. Hercules becomes a true hero not when he achieves glory, but when he chooses love and sacrifice. Because that's the transformation, not accomplishment, character. I have another question for you. If nobody applauded your achievements anymore, who would you be? And would you still believe that you matter? That question makes people uncomfortable fast. And that's because most people don't know how to separate identity from performance. Let's talk about the Hydra for a second. The Hydra was the monster where every time Hercules cut off one head, two more grew back. And honestly, that's achievement based self worth in one mythological image. You solve one insecurity, and then two more appear. I need to make more money. Well, now I need to look better. Now I need more status. Now I need more validation. Now I need more proof. The problem isn't ambition itself. Ambition can be beautiful. The problem is when achievement becomes an attempt to fill emotional starvation, because then success stops being joyful and it starts becoming survival. There's actually research on this too. Studies in self determination theory by psychologists Edward Deci and Richard Ryan found that humans thrive most when motivated by intrinsic needs like connection, meaning, autonomy, and growth, not external validation alone. Translation: your soul is not a golden retriever. It cannot survive entirely on praise and trophies. Okay, so I didn't think I was going to touch on this, and then the more I thought about it, the more I thought it was important. Hercules represents a version of masculinity that a lot of men quietly inherit. Be useful, be strong, don't fail, protect everyone, earn your place. And while strength itself isn't bad, many men are never taught emotional worth outside of performance, which is why some men completely emotionally collapse when they lose a job, fail publicly, or feel unnecessary. Because if your value only exists in what you do, then exhaustion starts feeling like identity death. And women experience this too, just a little bit differently. Many women are taught that achievement is tied to perfectionism. Be successful, be attractive, be nurturing, be emotionally available, be impressive, but somehow be effortless about it. Basically, everyone gets emotionally catfished by impossible standards. Congratulations, humanity. But what makes Hercules tragic isn't that he wasn't strong enough. It's that no amount of strength could answer the deeper question underneath. Am I worthy of love without proving myself? And this is where mythology becomes a mirror, because most people are running their own 12 labors right now. Maybe yours isn't slaying monsters. Maybe yours is overworking, overachieving, people pleasing, never resting, never slowing down, because slowing down might force you to feel what's underneath the productivity. That's why rest feels scary for some people. Silence removes distraction, and suddenly the nervous system whispers, without achievement, who am I? What labor are you currently trapped in? And what are you secretly hoping it will finally prove about you? The truly heroic thing is not becoming impressive enough to deserve love. It's learning you have worth before the achievements. That's the transformation. Not arrogance, not laziness, not never improve yourself. Growth matters, but healthy growth comes from self respect, not self rejection. A tree grows because it's alive, not because it's trying to earn permission to exist. And psychologically, people who develop healthier self worth often perform better long term anyway, because they're no longer operating from panic. They can fail without collapsing, rest without guilt, and grow without self hatred. That's freedom. So maybe Hercules isn't just the story of strength. Maybe it's the story of someone trying to earn something that can't actually be earned: love, worth, belonging. Because these things become fragile when they're built entirely on performance. And maybe the real labor, the hardest labor, is learning to believe that you matter before the applause. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed today's episode, please share it with someone who feels like they constantly have to earn their worth. And wherever you're listening, I'd love to hear your answer to this question in the comments. What achievement in your life were you hoping would finally make you feel like you were enough? And if you enjoyed today's episode, please make sure to like this video, subscribe, hit the notification bell, leave me a comment, all the algorithmic wizardry. It genuinely helps the Grounded Mage grow and reach others walking their own hero's journey. And before we go, what if Hercules had his own journal? Like, imagine him halfway through the 12 labors writing, "Today I fought a seven-headed monster and still somehow feel emotionally inadequate." Honestly, relatable. That's exactly why I created the Grounded Mage's Hero's Journey Journal, a space to reflect on your own patterns, fears, growth, identity, and personal mythology without needing to fight a lion with your bare hands first. Because your journey deserves reflection too. There is a link for a free preview in the description down below, and if you like that, the links to purchase it are also in the description down below. Next week on The Grounded Mage, we are exploring Spider Man and the psychology of responsibility, guilt, and why some people feel responsible for everyone around them. Until next week, fellow mages, make it make magic.